Right Honourable Prime Minister, this is a good conversation we are having. And just to say I'm honoured to actually be part of this discussion and thank the organisers, which is Memenangula Wanja, the Namibia Investment Promotion Government Board, the Hans Schiedel Foundation, and also in cooperation with NAMCO. I'm quite happy to be here this morning to be part of this discussion. And we recognize, of course, that the emergence of the oil and gas industry in our country has indeed great promise and will affect large sections of our society. And therefore, the importance and the need to have this broad-based discussions and consultations in order for us to continue and sustain this necessary public dialogue. I think for most Namibians, if ever there was a time when Namibia attracted this heightened global economic attention, I think this time is now. I think we can probably say we have crossed the Rubicon, having positioned ourselves as an attractive international investment destination. Right now, the key area of attention that we are getting is that coming from the green energy, in particular green hydrogen. We have receiving attention with regard to the critical minerals that we have, and now oil and gas that we are talking about this morning. It is important to understand that this heightened interest in our potential to become this good destination for international investment did not really just happen by itself. It didn't just didn't happen. It happened because of our concerted effort and our intentional focus in telling the international investment communities about what our country can offer. I therefore wish to commend the men and women who have been spearheading and continue to do so our investment promotion efforts, Memenangula and your team. And I especially actually want to recognize the role of our president, Dr. Alweendo, who has really played a key role in intensifying our international profile. Amidst all the recent economic calamities that we are all aware of, he has been our leader in hope and kept us believing that better days are coming. And as I say, certainly I think better days have arrived. So, today's event is about the recent oil and gas discoveries. And in my remarks this morning, I would just like to focus on 4 issues that I consider to be very critical and also relevant to the theme of the conference, which is leveraging the oil discoveries for inclusive development. The 4 issues I want to focus on are these. The first one is the fact that the recent oil and gas discoveries are not an automatic remedy to all our socio-economic challenges. The second one is the importance of governance in managing the upstream and oil gas sector. Third one is the need for us to prioritize the development of our local capability to manage the sector. And the fourth and last issue is the impact the energy transition will have on our oil and gas sector. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the first one, as I said, oil is not an automatic remedy to all our challenges that we have today. The oil and gas discovery in commercial quantities obviously have raised our expectations that we are going to have significant revenues, and we are also going to have employment being created in the sector, like it was actually shown there by Shoana. Indeed, the discoveries hold a great potential to improve our socio-economic challenges. However, the development of the sector is inherently associated with uncertainties and complexities. One can think of uncertainties associated with issues such as that quantity, like it was said, we are doing the choice of determine that quantity, the quality of the oil that has been discovered, what will be the production rate of the oil, what will be the price, and some of these uncertainties can actually remain with the production, with the sector, during the lifetime of the oil production project. And therefore we need to be aware of that. There is those uncertainties and complexities. It is therefore important that we manage our expectations and aspirations for what this sector can actually mean to us. We also need to be cognizant of the social, political, and economic complexities that can arise because of the oil sector. While potential significant oil investments are expected to flow into the country, it is not also given that prosperity will flow. Prosperity will follow only if the investments and the consequent oil revenue are well managed, and if not well managed, the subsequent results could well be worsened socio-economic challenges. Therefore, poor management of the oil and gas sector can drive corruption and inequality that in turn will fuel social tensions and can threaten our political stability. We thus need to learn lessons from some oil-producing nations whose oil production has not resulted in a broad-based socio-economic development. And the duty to do so is on all of us, especially those of us who are entrusted with a public responsibility to manage the sector, to ensure that the sector is managed in the best interest of the country, for the benefit not only of these current generations, but also, importantly so, for the generations to come. The second issue is that the governance of the oil and gas sector is imperative to ensure that potential economic benefits are shared equally and fairly. Governance failure can have far-reaching implications for our economy, social development, and probably also political development. Good governance of the sector requires all of us to play our respective roles. From the government perspective, good governance entails that we should have clear national goals. We should ensure sustainable exploitation. We have transparent processes, and we ensure accountability in decision-making and performance. However, apart from good governance processes, to effectively manage our oil and gas resources, it is also imperative that the custodian of these resources possess the required skill, and above all, that they must have a high level of integrity. This is essential to reduce corruption in all its manifestations. It is also important, ladies and gentlemen, that the investing companies, the international oil companies that we have for our investors, play their role in such a manner that the economic benefits to be derived from the sector are shared fairly and equitably. In other words, the investing company must earn their license to operate. They need to present their manifestos to the communities and the people where they are operating from, clearly describing how they intend to make life better for those communities. This will include providing decent jobs, respecting local community cultures and customs, as well as immersing themselves as corporate members of that community and contributing to the broader advancement of that community. So I urge all our investors to make sure that you earn your license to operate. The third issue is that of how to meaningfully benefit from oil and gas sector. And to maximize the socio-economic benefits to be derived from this sector, there is an urgent need for us to prioritize the development of our local capability, how to manage the sector. As you can understand, this is a new sector, and we certainly do not have all the user capability that is needed, and therefore it needs to be our priorities. We need to invest time and resources to understand and upskill ourselves to be effective participants and managers of this sector. Without the prerequisite skills and capabilities, we will not reap the full potential economic benefits of our oil and gas resources. And ladies and gentlemen, in the development of these local capabilities, we urge also the international oil companies, again our investors, to be active participants in this effort. We will not achieve the requisite local capabilities without the effective and serious participation of the international oil companies. Not long ago, the Ministry of Mines and Energy organized a workshop to discuss issues related to local content policy in the oil sector. And here we define local content as the active participation of Namibian workforce and entrepreneurs in the upstream oil and gas sector through not only training, employment, and local procurement of goods and services. And local content will facilitate economic diversification. It will deepen backward and forward linkages from various segments of the oil and gas sector value chain, and thereby fast-tracking our industrialization effort. Our local content policy will bear fruits only when all the stakeholders, the investors, and the entrepreneurs collaborate and pull together in the same direction. In building our local capabilities, I want to encourage especially our local entrepreneurs, whom I hope they are also in the audience, to spare no effort in understanding the new sector, to spend time to read out what the sector requires. Because we can only participate if we also understand what the sector requires. To understand the required capabilities to be effective participant in the local content framework. We will all be better off as business people and members of society if we really foster this culture of understanding, and therefore we participate in terms of being able to deliver what is required. The fourth and last issue, ladies and gentlemen, is about the impact of the energy transition on how upstream petroleum sector will develop. Our oil discoveries are made at the time when the energy transition discussion has reached its crescendo. We have observed cases where countries with fossil fuel resources, especially developing countries like ours, where we are being discouraged to not leverage our fossil fuel energy resources, and obviously in the name of climate change. We are being urged to, as soon as possible, switch to clean, renewable energy sources such as solar and wind, which luckily we have as Namibia as well. Now, to be clear, I'm not taking any issue with the fact that we are severely affected by the effects of climate change, because we are. For example, we have seen devastating droughts and floods not only in African countries but elsewhere. Most of us have experienced changed rainfall patterns in the process, negatively impacting global food security. Therefore, climate change is real and is must concern all of us as global citizens. What we, however, find unreasonable is when some countries and some global interest groups demand that the energy transition takes place in a linear fashion, completely disregarding the livelihood of those who might be affected. And this kind of a mindset is so condescending, and it shows really a total lack of concern about the immense socio-economic development challenges faced by developing countries such as ours. We are therefore We are therefore calling for an energy transition that is just and equitable among nations. However, recognizing the inevitability of the energy transition, we understand and accept that fossil fuel may no longer be a fuel of the future, and that the world is transitioning to renewable energy. It is for this reason that we, together with the international oil companies, together with the investors, need to ensure that our oil sector is being developed with the lowest carbon emission in mind, and we do so from the inception as we start especially to put the plans together. This will be the most effective way to ensure that our oil sector is competitive in the global markets. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude by saying that there is much work to be done, and this conference is an ideal platform to really have meaningful public dialogues on how to make the oil sector to work better for us. I am optimistic that we will use this great platform and network to share ideas that will enable us to positively contribute to the sustainable development of the Namibian oil and gas sector. And I thank you and wish you all the best.